Hello, my name is Daragh Fleming, and I'm the author of Lonely Boy, which is a collection of essays on mental health. Today, I'm going to be reading an extract from an essay called On Becoming Numb, so I hope you enjoy. The fallout from my friend's death damaged my ability to feel, express, and understand emotion. I liken it to a circuit board getting too much electrical input. Eventually, it burns out and can't output anything at all. This is when a blackout happens. There were so many powerful emotions passing through me that I blew a fuse and could no longer handle the input. After weeks and months of sadness laid on thick, I was suddenly numb to everything. I no longer felt sad, I felt indifferent. Nothing mattered anymore. There was no joy either. It was just a consistent nothingness. I was indifferent to the things going on around me and found myself going through the motions in order to hide the truth of the situation. As the years dripped past, this numbness eased, but it never truly left. I've had to work on expressing emotion. I don't always get it right. It can be hard knowing people are expecting an emotional reaction yet feeling nothing. You feel like you're letting them down in some way, like you're not giving them what they deserve. Over time, the problem morphed from not being able to feel anything to not being able to express a feeling. Sometimes I feel something, but the manifestation of it isn't very intense. It feels like trying to understand someone underwater. Yes, I know I am feeling something, but it is sometimes quite difficult to know what it is because it's so faint. I can't hear the voice shouting, but I couldn't tell you at all what it might be saying. This could be due to long periods of feeling nothing, but it resulted in not being sure what to do when I know I should be feeling something but can't feel a thing. Writing has helped that. Although sometimes I can't express my feelings in person, it's easier for me to articulate the emotions in the written word. That's why writing is therapeutic for me, and that's why I'll always do it even if no one is reading. I can find ways to express myself in writing that I've always struggled to do in real time. That said, I still struggle with emotional numbness and an inability to express myself from time to time. But I've learned to work on it and be patient with myself. I've become aware of an issue I had been denying to myself for years, and now I actively work on it. This feels like progress. But these things rarely fix themselves overnight. The awareness of our flaws is an important foundation on which to rebuild ourselves. It was unknown to me for some time, but this inability to express or accept emotion in the context of a relationship is called emotional unavailability. It happens to people for an array of different reasons. For me, becoming attached to people felt daunting and it scared me, so my workaround was to limit how attached I could become to people, things, accomplishments. This meant I never got too high or too low in public or in private. I've always just been on an even keel, which is obviously helpful in a lot of situations. I rarely lose my temper, for example. Bad news doesn't often upset me because I don't take these matters personally, because there's no emotion attached to them for me. This unattachment clearly has its benefits, but it's also a mindset synonymous with being alone. When you don't attach or feel intense emotions, people assume you don't care enough and walk away. If you met me, you wouldn't describe me as excitable or enthusiastic. It sometimes seems like things don't faze me or that I don't care about things I ought to care about. People often joke about how unenthusiastic my voice sounds. However, I do get enthusiastic and care about many things. Historically, I just haven't been good at showing this. I do feel emotions, I just often struggle to express them. There was a layer of numbness that surrounded me emotionally for some years, and so sometimes and so it sometimes takes a lot more for me to feel a visceral emotion than it would take for other people. I need a lot more fuel to get the same fire going. This was caused by two things. The first, as we have discussed, was the trauma of losing my friend to suicide. The second reason I became emotionally unavailable is because I failed to resolve something which happened before Irby passed. My then girlfriend cheated on me multiple times and betrayed my trust. This was a girl I was head over heels for, and I ended up getting my heart shattered. I'd known in my gut that something was wrong, but I ignored it because of how I felt. I didn't want to believe what I knew instinctively to be true because it meant the end of what we had. This mistaken judgment ended up causing devastation. At that young age, knowing that I was punching out of my league, I was clingy and overbearing. It didn't help the situation, and it would have made sense if she had flat out dumped me. But it still didn't justify cheating and hurting me to that degree. From this, I learned a very maladaptive defense mechanism, that I should never feel so much for someone again so as to avoid that level of hurt. Every other person was ruled out because of the actions of one very careless person, but the overcorrection meant that I would go on to hurt other people. I would never settle down. I would see multiple people at once. I would never become vulnerable with anyone. Imagine if we overcorrected this much in other aspects of our lives. Never wearing shoes again because a specific pair gave you blisters. Never using soap again because you got some in your eyes that one time. It makes little sense to overcorrect in this way, but we often do it, and it usually causes us more harm than anything else. But it feels right. It felt like I was protecting myself, but I was really denying myself the chance to move on. Thank you for listening, and thank you to everyone at West Cork Lit Festival. Really appreciate it, and hope you have a good Christmas.